Hey guys, David here. So we are just down in Mount Wellington now, catching up with Tama Singh. We've been talking a little bit on Instagram. I know a little bit about what he does. He's a property investor coach. Going to catch up with him on the podcast. Comment below if you've had a dealings with Tama, and if you're looking to get into property, this is your guy. Enjoy the podcast. Cool, Tama. Thanks very much for letting us in your beautiful abode today, man. Awesome. Yeah, I know I've seen your stuff on social media a little while. I know we've been following back and forth and a few mutual friends, etc., etc. So yeah, cheers for giving me the opportunity today.
No, it's good. Seen a lot of your stuff as well.
Appreciate it, man. Let's start off from the very start. If people don't know you, let's just go from, you know, what did you do? Where'd you go to school? What did you do straight after school? Let's give us a couple of years.
Cool. So I was born and raised in Opotiki. Moved up to Auckland when I was 13. Very good move for my parents. They saw that there wasn't much of a future happening in that town at that specific moment.
Yeah.
So they pulled us out, and I went to Selwyn College in Kohimarama, Mission Bay area.
Man.
So I did that till the point where I was 13, but I started to get a first job at a Food Town Countdown supermarket when I was 15 years old. I did that. Everyone else decided to go to uni. When they finished, I wanted to do a management course in the supermarkets.
Yeah.
You know, all the things where you guaranteed a job and, you know, you can earn 100K, company car and all that type of stuff. And eventually, mindset of where I wanted to go in life and 100K salary and all that stuff wasn't enough to work in a supermarket 60 hours. So I eventually went out and did door-to-door sales.
Yeah, nice.
Which is crazy because I was like, 5 years of that, I might as well go and do commission-only work in Auckland.
Yeah.
So
I might not get paid this week.
Oh, I definitely did it.
Yeah.
I definitely used to go up and only make like $80 for a whole week's work, right?
Yeah.
So I was garbage, dog shit at actually doing door-to-door sales. And then I realized and started to learn, you know, when you're back into a corner, you have no option but to learn.
Yeah.
You even learn how to stand, how to like literally keep eye contact with a guy, knocking their door, how many knocks, all this stuff, because you're knocking thousands, right?
Yeah.
Then the second 6 months, I started to make quite decent money.
Nice.
Like sometimes 3,000 a week.
Yeah.
From actually getting so many sales.
How many door knocks do you think you were doing a week on average?
80 a day, so 400.
What was your like straight up, flat out door shut rejection rate, you reckon? Pretty high? 400?
When I got more and more, it was probably, I got really good.
Yeah, nice.
Where I only need to go out and probably knock 30 doors.
Yeah, nice.
And then I'd close like 6.
Yeah, cool.
So, you know, you'd work on better icebreaker lines. Hey, sir, don't worry, I'm not here from the power company or here to convert you to different religion.
Yeah.
I'm just here to, you know.
It's interesting, man, little things like that. Trying to get an icebreaker or straight off the phone call. I'm not trying to sell you anything. If you're happy, all good, tell me to bugger off. Yeah, when you pick up on those tricks, it's good, man.
Yeah, so
cool. Carry on.
Apologies. Sales, which is cool. And then after that, well, one good thing my dad said, he goes, look, you've worked nearly every day since you were 15 years old.
Yeah.
You're now 21. Don't rush into getting another job. If just relax for a bit, take 3 months off. And then I'm glad I did that because I didn't go into other terrible jobs. I ended up getting a really good one as a sales rep for a heating company.
Yeah.
So this HVAC doing heat pump sales. And then I ended up just staying there for like 9 years.
Shit.
So yeah, I stayed there till
top of the food chain.
Yeah, then when I was like 27, that's when you started to see certain aspects popping off in the property market in New Zealand. Went to one of the seminars, you know, free seminars. They started to expand about New Zealand's property laws compared to Australia and why it's much better to start investing here in New Zealand. Yeah. And I'm hearing this person speak and I'm pulling out my phone and I'm Googling half this stuff, being like, why was I not taught any of this? You know, and so I was like, went home and obsessed about it like that night.
Yeah.
And then the next day, I was like on their ass straight away, like, how do I learn more? How do I learn more? And I sort of leveraged, because we used to do comedy skits as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of the videos and the way I speak on camera and the editing and things like that is from doing comedy skits for like 2 years straight.
Yeah.
And so when I saw these people from the property seminar, I leveraged the fact that I can film and edit for free for them just so I can be in the room. And that's what I did. And that's what got me in the room.
Yeah.
Plenty of times where other people had to pay to be in that room.
Yeah, nice. You just gave like a bit of an offer or a value exchange. I can
Correct.
do this for you and I want this.
Yeah, then it's
nice.
little gems where it's like you might be out there making content and you might get like 10 viewers, but you're still learning that skill.
Yeah,
you're still learning how to speak on camera. You're still learning how to edit, you know, production, all that type of stuff. That one day you could leverage it to a massive slingshot move.
Yeah.
So after doing that, fast forward 7 years into the job, And then I started doing property investing. And so I have a really good team member builder who mainly project manages everything for me.
Yep.
And I'm in charge of like the admin and the finance side. And then we got to like 20 houses in the first year of us starting in 2021. And I'm counting like 2 houses on one title,
Yep.
3 houses, type stuff, so every door. And then the following year after that, work obviously sort of picked up on what I was doing because I started to post videos.
Yeah.
I used to do like, now it's all about attention. You do fast, quick-witted, fucking get the TikTok captions going.
Yeah, man.
Back in the day, it's like face 12-minute video of you just sipping a beer or wine, just giving out all the gold you can for 12 minutes. No editing, just straight publish.
Yeah, raw, film, and post,
unedited, right? And then, so that's what I used to do. And then the following year, started to get a bit more money coming in, and we did another 20 or something, but we got to like 43 in less than 3 years.
Yeah, nice.
That was the main number.
Yeah.
And to the point where I started to be like, I need to quit and do this full time. There's many times during my full-time job, but I was like, is now the right time? You're listening to all the entrepreneurial videos where it's like, you're going to regret not doing it earlier, all that type of stuff. And I speak to other property investors who have taken the plunge. So I started to be like, what was it like? What was cash flow like? What was lending and servicing like? You lose the company car, so you have to now buy a vehicle and all that type of stuff. So it was a very calculated decision. Then one deal, I think I did like a contemporaneous, was back-to-back settlements, and I think I made like 80 grand off that.
Yeah, nice.
And I was like, okay, that's almost my entire salary.
Yeah.
If I do not quit right now, I myself am an idiot.
Yeah.
So I need to get out of here. And then I gave my resignation, and that was my last day working full-time was July last year.
Yeah,
so
nice.
it's just clicked over a year now.
Yeah, that's interesting. And how long would you say you've been sort of in the trenches or doing this work for before you?
I was going to say, do you have $1 in your end? We're so cash now, man.
Yeah.
In the trenches fully in that whole time. Like after that, when I quit, 5 days later, I did like the biggest seminar I've done last year, August, which was like 100 people there.
Yeah, that's cool.
And managed to teach a whole bunch of people. Then started doing one-on-one coaching with people to get into flipping. And then we started going into bigger projects where developments is sort of now on our radar.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I want to knock out a couple of key points for people that might, there's a lot of info there, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Before you did like your first deal, what was your first deal? And were you kind of like, oh shit, my deposit's 40 grand. Am I going to lose this 40 grand? Like, did you have full confidence that you knew exactly what you were doing?
No, everything you just said the worst way.
Yeah. So worried, scared. Your parents are like, don't fucking do it.
I was doing project management. So best thing to do is you have no money. You become like a deal sourcer where you get educated on property deals, how to analyze them and how other investors are thinking, because the investors buy them off you and pay you.
Yeah.
If you don't know how they think, you'll never get paid.
Yeah, I see.
Right? So you learn that. And then eventually you're like, fuck, pass it on to them. And they went off and flipped it and made X amount of money. I wonder if I had the money, I could have made that money.
Yes.
Similar to, I guess, how builders would think. When they get their general contract, whatever, they renovate their house, but they can see how much they bought it for, see how much they sold it for, know what their bill was, and know how much they made.
Yes.
And they're like, why couldn't I buy that house myself?
Finance is always the one.
Correct.
The one thing.
Number one thing. So I said, well, where can I buy the cheapest house in the whole country?
Yeah.
West Coast. So that's Westport, New Zealand.
Yeah.
So I went and looked around Westport. This was before the floods, and I saw a 4-bedroom house there for $192,000.
So cheap.
So I was like, I'm buying this. Back then, you only needed a 30% deposit, I'm pretty sure. So you needed to find $78,000.
Yeah.
I had $4,000 in my account. That's it.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck it, unconditional. So I went unconditional, and I had about a month to figure out how I'm going to find it. I knew my mum had like 20 grand in her account. And I knew that my dad had another 12, I think it was.
Yeah.
I could borrow another 8 from my sister. So I was like, shit, I'm still like 30 or something short. And so what I did was I went to my mum and I said, Mum, I need you to take out a personal loan in your name, please. I will pay for all the repayments. I just need you to take out a personal loan and give me that money so I can fulfill the settlement. She did that, lovely. And then you still got to pay for the renos.
Yeah, man.
So you just scrape every single dollar you have to your name just to settle on it. And then you still got holding costs, so the mortgage come out each month.
Yeah, and the interest.
And the interest, you got the insurance, the rates, the power.
Oh, traveling down there?
Traveling down there, you can't fly direct. You have to fly to Nelson, drive for 3 hours, so there's rental car accommodation. So that's where you start to leverage other things where it's like trade accounts at might attend. utilizing the 30-day credit, 60-day rollover, God forbid, 90 days rollover.
Yeah,
you start to get on good terms with the fucking owner of the building. You start dropping in beers to all the trade managers, and they're like, all good, all good, all good. You know?
Another 90, another 30.
You start to leverage your credit card and the points there and all that type of stuff. You're literally forced to make this work.
When your back's against the wall, man. And especially if you're playing with your parents' money as well.
Exactly.
Holy shit.
And then what happens is once you're in the field, once you're there doing it, that's when shit changes. Because literally 2 weeks later, we found another house that's like a massive villa. And it was like we got it down
on the West Coast?
Yeah, like literally like 3 streets over.
Yeah.
And it was like 120 grand.
Wow.
And I was like, we can't not buy this. So I was like, fuck, well, how are we going to fund this? I was like, I can't do the whole unconditional and the miracle will happen again.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'll try it. So I did it. And this is where I started to become very vocal online. I started to join property investing groups. And one person that knew me from a previous seminar I went to, she's like, hey, I've got like 50 grand of cash. I don't know what to do with it. Do you want to partner up? And we partnered up and she ended up.
I was like, I'm kind of fucked in about 28 days. So I'll take the 50.
Yeah, 100%. What do you want? 100% interest? Done. So use the money, settle on the property, and then we started to have other people start to come forward. And then I started to utilize leverage equity from my Auckland home, even went as far as doing a 3rd-tier mortgage, which is very expensive.
So before you did, so the very first house that you purchased was the first reno that you did, 78 grand. And then how did you leverage money from an Auckland home? Was that like a home,
So what you can do is you can get like a financier to clip on theirs. So whatever they're going to give you, say you need 100 grand, they'll take that 100 grand under the usable equity that your Auckland home has.
Okay, cool.
And then they'll come under the title as like a 2nd-tier or 3rd-tier lender.
I see.
Which means if you never pay your bills back and they need to get their money back, a mortgagee sale will happen on your house. And then the first mortgagee always gets paid first, second, third, and then whatever's left, if any, goes to you. So that's how the mortgages work, right? But they're like... back then it was like 14%, 15%. A 30-year mortgage lender now might be over 20% now.
That's huge, man.
So but you do realize that you're like, fuck, if I have to pay 18 grand worth of fees to this mortgage lender and I'm just going to make 45 grand on this flip and I take away the 80 and it's like 25.
Yes.
But it's almost a sure thing. It's a very easy sell. Am I going to say no to that? No.
I suppose you just come back and how quick can I do it?
Yeah.
How much, can I do it in a month and make 25K a month?
Correct.
Do that 10
And I'm
times.
also a very firm believer on breaking open the introductions to more finances. Yeah. Because although you might make bugger all profit, you may have just broke even or made $1. But to them, they don't really know or care. As long as they got their money back, they're like, sweet. So what happens when you approach them again for a monster deal that you needed to move fast on? And they're like, oh, it's Tama again. Sweet. We have no ideas about how much you made last time. But all we know is that he paid us back.
He paid the
so
bill.
we're going to give him this finance so we don't have to vet him as hard because he's already an existing client of ours.
Okay, so I want to quickly use a builder's perspective there. So you could say, cool, I just paid them back, all good. Builders do a lot of this for people where they say, oh, if I just give this client a cheap deal the first time, they'll give us
paying it forward.
But sometimes it doesn't work in that favor because you get people that will just go around and go to the next builder, to the next builder. So it's interesting. I'm also about that, building credibility. Showing that, yes, you can pay people back. I suppose from our listeners' perspective, it's like, damn, you do need to make a profit margin. And I'm not saying that you don't, your jobs were, you don't want to do every job and not make money, but I suppose there's two sides of the story there. You do have to make money on every deal because at the end of the day, profitability is very important.
But like it stays in that for months, right? The property transaction, you stay in there for like 6 months in a slow market, even more, right? So if you then exit with those funds and you made nothing or even lost money, you're way behind.
Interesting. Okay, so at that point, you had were you still renovating the first property and then you'd already leveraged again, done the second? Did you have a point where you're like, fuck, man, I'm maxed out to the hills here and paying the stupid interest?
All the time. And me and my business partner, builder, we always talk about it. We always talk about the fact that, diamonds are formed under cold, being under pressure. There's things that we've learned that I didn't even know to ask the question on. Then I found out, I was like, fuck, I didn't know you could do that. And it's like because of how backed into a corner we were that I found out you could do that. It's like Deadpool 1. And they stress him out as genealogy to the point where he's literally about to die in the oxygen chamber and then he mutates. They're like, you have to get that far. But I also say this from my personal experience and opinion. I don't tell other people to go out there because there's different stress threshold. I know I've said this on different podcasts, and they go, I would never tell my mom to take out a fucking personal loan to go out and buy property and blah, blah, blah. It's like, obviously there was a bit of a story there. It was only 35 grand. I knew worst case scenario.
Yeah.
We bought the house so well that I can just sell it, break even, pay her back, and I'll make absolutely nothing. Yeah. But it's all good. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So did those like first couple deals go pretty well, paid everyone back, made some money, and you're like, cool.
No, we actually got hit with the worst flood in 100 years.
At that exact time.
Yep. So we bought the house in like April, literally May, June, July happened, where we finished the house, did every single thing. We paid, we got rinsed on our electrical bill. First time not really knowing, $22,000 for a rewire.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because travel charge from Hokitika to Westport, 22 grand for a rewire. I've never really done a rewire ever when I did that one, but I knew it shouldn't be 22,000.
Yeah, I think we quoted one in Hamilton about 2 weeks ago. It was 8.5. So sorry, man. If you want to cry, I can.
So that was it. But I included a heat pump.
Yeah.
So we did that, and we got to the point where it's all done. Carpets laid, vacuum cleaned. Last thing to go on, staging, right?
Yeah.
So that's when the house's photos are ready.
Yep.
That night, water up to here,
Oh, wow.
halfway up the walls. Whole town almost underwater. Damn, got an insurance payout though, which was sweet.
Do you have individual contract works insurance for every reno you do, or how do you kind of manage?
No, so that part there, we got out of the contract works and just went to normal insurance. We finished.
I see. Yeah,
but normally with there, you can get contract works insurance. But if you're just doing, it depends how intensive the renovations are, you know?
Yeah.
We can operate under the standard home insurance, or the builder's contract works insurance can handle that as well. But that was the first flip and the worst thing we've never noticed before.
Yeah.
And obviously when the insurance payout goes in and you're waiting for money, it goes to the first mortgagee, not you.
Yeah.
So then you have to then declare your case to them so they can give you that money, you know, which was another thing I learned. So then at that point we did 5 houses in Westport.
Yeah.
In that time frame.
So were you living down there full time? Just moved up and down?
Yeah.
And was your business partner / builder living down there?
Well, yeah, staying in accommodation.
Yeah.
So just the accommodation that we spent in Westport, accommodation only was like 15 grand.
Yeah.
It was so expensive.
Yeah.
And then, so that was July, and then literally August, September, COVID lockdowns happened again.
Yeah.
I believe in August 2021, level 3, level 4 Auckland.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they literally got to Westport. Cindy was on the news. Lockdown's happening tomorrow.
Yeah.
Motel came in, kicked them all out that night. So they just checked in, get out, no refunds, get out.
Right.
Yeah.
And had to try and
back. Yeah.
Bro, how
So
much
many
was
nightmares.
How much was an Air New Zealand flight from Christchurch to Auckland then? Sure.
Oh, it was Auckland to Nelson?
Nelson.
I don't know, like $400 a person.
Yeah, ouch, man. Yeah, it's painful. Okay, so was that sort of like, so this would have been 20, I'll just try and get a gate, like a timeline. So in that year, how many successful flips did you do in that year? 4?
No, that year we did 14.
14?
Yeah.
Okay, so just 4 on the West Coast, yeah?
5
in the West Coast.
Yeah. We also bought a house in West Coast, 75 grand. 75 grand. Yeah.
Are you still shopping down there now? Nah. Why?
Just the floods.
Okay, cool. Yeah, all good. I just want to get on track here very quickly.
It's not because I'm scared of the floods. It's just that getting insurance is a lot harder.
Yeah.
And when you go to on-sell them to other people, their appetite for risk is a lot lower than mine. So sure, I can just buy it. But when you go to sell it, you're talking to someone that has way less risk appetite.
Yeah.
So they just need, I don't know, and they just need to see a slight glimmer of hope on another deal anywhere else, and they'll be like, fuck it, I'll jump on that one instead.
Yeah.
So you could be stuck with a deal.
Okay, cool. Keen to move on a few sort of topics in regards to relatable to sort of builder and client, etc. Obviously, like, do you just work with one full-time builder at the moment? So how do you...
I've got 2 currently that's gone different projects.
Okay. Do you think there's a shortage of good tradies out there at the moment?
Yes, it's... Right now, at the moment, I don't think so. There's a lot of people that are always DMing me on Instagram like, hey, bro, if you're going to do any more projects in Auckland, my team can do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
When I did the post that we're going into developments, that's when a lot more people came up, because I guess that for anyone that's a builder, doing a development is probably the best option, because it's all your work in one location.
Yeah.
Less travel time. All the guys are on one site.
Yeah.
You don't have to keep an eye on different sites. And hopefully, if they're a reputable developer, you get paid on time and well.
Yeah. absolutely. What are some sort of like key signs with tradies builders that you look out for when they do approach you? Like you must have somewhat of a vetting process of being like, are these guys good? Because there's nothing worse than
So one of the key things when it comes to flipping is that you are paying like over 10% on average interest per month on whatever mortgage you're getting, right? It's not standard 7% that people cry about with buy and hold. Flipping's different, right?
Yeah.
And you're actually needing to time the market. Otherwise, you could significantly just lose money.
Yeah.
So time is significantly more important for flipping than anyone that's just doing a renovation on a house.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be paying that mortgage regardless.
Yeah.
They're living in it, right?
Yeah.
So having a tradie that I can call up and say, hey, man, we've got this thing. We need someone to come in. He goes, I could probably move around these jobs that aren't as important as yours and fit you in, which is great. Because there's certain things for documentation, sign-offs that if they aren't there in the right order, these people can't start. So the value of them prioritizing our jobs, for me, that's like a big thing.
Well, if you could, if you lose a week, your interest payments every week.
Yeah.
That rolls over week after week.
100%.
Could be $500 a week.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. I had one more. Sorry, bro. I'm just trying to get a grasp on this little bit here. Key signs. With the, so now roughly how many projects at a time have you got on the go right now? Like at any one time?
Probably over 10.
And do you manage all sub-trades at the same time, or how are you doing that? Is the builder managing that?
He's probably managing 3 of them.
Three.
We're probably managing like the other 60%, 60-40.
Okay, so when you say we, like what does your kind of team look like at the moment?
Well, us upstairs, one of them just came back from Australia for holiday. He's helped out with the... So roughly, he used to be a development manager for a company in Auckland. Okay. So he's come on board and he's mainly handling everything to do with the subdivision work for the new builds we're doing. Yeah. He also owns a labour hire company in Auckland, which is, we're bringing that into the business as well. So he's all about the whole building trade, done his apprenticeship in that aspect. Yeah. Where he would handle that operations side. Okay, cool. I would be handling probably the legals, making offers, finance sides, and the sales process.
So you're sort of like the front end side, and then he takes care of all the delivery once it's roughly signed up. Yeah, nice. Whereabouts are the new builds and how long has that kind of been in the pipeline? Because I think a lot of people don't think, before a house comes to the point of signed, consented drawings, there's so much.
Oh, there is.
So much front end
about that. Yeah. I've had, so they are townhouses in Dunedin. Only because my very first investment property that I bought, that I leveraged off my Auckland house, was in 2020. Okay. So, you buy it and 650 square meters of land, you can build 2 stories, 5 townhouses can fit on it. So literally the power is just getting disconnected as we speak. Yeah. So it can be demolished this week. Yeah, nice. And we've got the resource consent out that's approved for that. Just things I've learned, like disconnecting power so they can actually smash the house down because it's a fucking nightmare. Yeah. The fact that it's 3-bedroom and a 2-bedroom, so it's multi-income flats, different meters. You need to call a different company. One's with Frank's Energy, one's with Contact. Both of them are blaming each other like, nah, we're not going to do it. Call them. And you're like, no, it's been 2 weeks now and no one's come around. They send the wrong guy out. Oh, you need to send another guy for this meter. And it's like, wow. Yeah, that's painful stuff, man. Yeah. So those new builds, how long in advance are they kind of pre-contracted out? I take it you're getting fixed price on everything for lending purposes? Yes. Yeah. So we've and again explored the whole thing about getting development finance, and that mainly kicks in once you've got the slabs down. So you have to sort of fund to get the house demolished, all the 224C work done, and civil, the drainage, slab down, signed off from council. Yeah. Once that's all done and it's just frames up, that's when the developing finance company will come in and start to give you all the funding for it. Yeah, nice. And what kind of percentages or interest are they? So it ranges from about 9 to 11%. Yeah, nice. 9 to 12, sort of, with all their fees on top. Yeah, I see. And would that, can you negotiate better rates? Obviously, you're using, hey, I've paid the last one off, I got this one coming. Absolutely. Yeah. So, you know when to ask that stuff and what foot you stand on when I'm a first-time developer, first time coming to them for finance. But you also leverage on the fact that you look into their marketing, you sort of read where they're funding projects, how many projects they got on the go. And one good thing to know is that any bank, their job is to sell money. Yeah. That's literally how they make profit. For sure. So when you ask them, understand they do have power, but they're not 100,000,000% like power tripping.
Yeah.
Like a council building inspector. These people still have a job to sell this product to you. So if you do say, hey, I know we're a first-time developer. I know we've never done anything with you guys beforehand, but we are shopping around with other products. Well, they're going to be like, okay. So they did bring us down from 9% to 8.5.
There you go.
Which was quite good to know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose, you've got to play the sales game with them, because you don't always think. I feel like a lot of people go and say, oh, fuck, the bank's never going to give me money, but they do have to lend money to make money.
Well, yeah, look how much marketing spent from ANZ, Westpac, billboards, bus signs, TV commercials, black cats, all that shit. That's millions of dollars a year.
Yeah.
Just to try and hook their teeth into you for 30 years.
What's your thoughts on main banks and their lending and all that? What is your take on them?
They're good. I was taken out for the Warriors game 3 weeks ago from a main bank. It was a mobile mortgage broker who took me and my dad out there.
Nice.
And it was very interesting to talk to them about like what's happening. Funny enough, they said, a lot of our clients are selling their houses or refinancing and they're moving to Australia.
Shit.
I was like, really? And they're like, like you hear that a lot happening, right?
Yeah. What's your take like on people? There's so much shit at the moment. Heaps of people moving to Aussie. I see it as like a good opportunity for anyone who's staying.
Correct.
Like, I just think if you're staying in the game and you're in the trades, or you're a good builder, or you're a good consultant, whatever you do, essentially everyone's got less competition now.
Exactly. And like most people think that, maybe you're here and you're a lazy idiot and you think things are going to be better for you in Australia. If you move here and you're still a lazy idiot over there.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Yeah, you're not going to
It's not going to change for you.
The dole might be $100 more over there.
Yeah, that's it. To some, that's enough. Yeah. That's enough for the rest of their life to have that, right? And the weather and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So the people that are, I guess, entrepreneurial minded here, and they take it to a bigger market, then those are the ones that probably do connect quite well.
Yeah, absolutely. While we're on that topic, have you looked at stuff in Australia and that while you've been based?
We did want to. We do know that, like, I think of the state of Victoria, you can actually build a granny flat with full plumbing and just pretty much making minor dwellings on any house in the whole of Victoria state. So you're pretty much making multi-income properties. And to them, a good yield is like 5%. New Zealand, that's not. Auckland, some people push that, but it's dog shit. New Zealand, good yield is roughly around 8%.
Okay.
So in Australia, if you're getting things and you're buying them and you're making them like 7%, that's massive for them. Right? And it's very easy to do that by just adding on an additional income source, such as a minor dwelling.
Yeah, interesting.
With no council involvement.
Is it up to any square meter?
Must be, I think 60.
60? Yeah. Because do you reckon that's going to go ahead next year? National proposed that, eh?
They proposed that, because as I said, as long as the engineer's signed off and, the plumbing is all done by a qualified plumber.
Yeah, should be fine. Yeah. That will surely, you must look at it for this kind of stuff all the time.
Oh, yeah.
What's like how much research are you putting in a week to look at chops and changes and what's happening? And
it's good. Like provisional growth fund is a major thing that happened like 5-6 years ago. That's pretty much the budget where the government's spending their money. So this is one of the reasons why we bought, and our sphere investors bought on Apotiki. They had a $90 million port that was launched there, and they needed 1,000 more jobs. The government's spending $1 billion on upgrading the hospital, which has got to bring more workers there as well. All that type of stuff is the main thing. There's something in the news that's happening with the Wairarapa Martinborough, where their wastewater sewage lines are shitting themselves, and they have to pause all buildings because they can't handle the wastewaters anymore.
Yeah, so don't look at
the sludge.
Yeah, right.
Or it's don't look anything there, but also keep an eye on it. It's like to the point where when they are fixing it and they are getting it done, they open up resource consents for a lot more properties.
Yeah, true.
Because James Cameron has a house there. He's a billionaire.
Yeah, that's right. I'm pretty sure
it's always a desired place to live. They've just controlled it for now. So ideally, if you were rich enough and you wanted the land bank and you could buy with the intention of just holding it,
true.
By the time they open up the resource consents and the value starts to rise again, and bang, you bought something when it was in the news and no one wanted to touch it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's looking at it from a different way, eh?
Yeah.
When you were sort of looking into regions and doing your research, what are kind of like market conditions that you look at? You must have like a metric of thinking, cool, this one's going to do well. What do you look at when you're looking at those opportunities?
So specifically for flipping?
Yeah, let's just say flipping.
Yeah, specifically for flipping, you want to know, ideally you want to go on with your eyes on the end product. This is the house I'm looking at buying. Cool. You might be making an offer on it. Just fast forward 3 months, you're listing it on the market now. So take it what you're going to say. It's a 3-bedroom and your plan was to make it a 4. go on Trade Me, look at 4 bedrooms under the price that you're going to sell it for. So you're buying a 350 and you know you're going to end up at the 550 mark. Go straight to 550, be a buyer and see what they have options to buy right now and see where your finished product sits.
Okay.
Because if they're like, well, fuck, there's a lot of them that's really good for under 5.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, if you're buying at 350 and you're going to have to spend like 80 to 100 grand worth of renos and you're all in at 450 and then you've got agent fees, holding costs, insurance rates.
Yeah.
And then your best price might be 490. You fuck, this is not a good deal at all.
Yeah.
Because you thought 550 before even doing your homework.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
So a good thing to do is find out the competition that's there.
Yeah.
And then you want to get some agent feedback on what they're trying to do as well. Find out what their first home buyer's cap was. Even though that's sort of scrapped from the Kaingaora grant, it's still in people's minds, that psychological barrier where they're going to be looking. That's the main thing I would do, is find out where your property is going to sit and how much demand and competition you have now.
Yeah, interesting. And then you must have like somewhat of a data sheet of how you know what your costs are. So do you obviously just factor in, roughly what you're spending on a square meter for a new build and renovation?
New build, yes, it's sort of around about the what we try to do with other contractors and our own team is keep it around the 2.8 mark.
Yeah, that's
including just
all building costs. Yeah,
everything. Yeah.
I just finished that house in Martin. I put a thing out on Instagram the other day for, including landscaping, it was 2,050.
Yep.
But I hustle real hard on labor only build price subbies as well.
Yep.
And then I think including land and services counts, it was 2.8. And then I was looking at my head, and tell me if this is a good metric because I'm not a property guy.
Yeah.
But I was like, I looked at prices in the region and I could sell something similar for 3,300 a square. So I'm like, to you, is that a kind of a percentage you would look at? Like versus a, build, development, time cost, and then what you can sell on a square meter basis?
It's different for like when you guys are doing that for build to own occupy.
Yeah.
Then that could work in the numbers.
Yeah.
But for someone that's going to build to sell.
Yeah, there's a different.
Yeah, of course. Like you could use Invercargill as an example, right?
Yeah, okay.
You could pick up a land there for like 100 grand, right?
Okay.
And then you're building a 3 or 4 bedroom house, but that house might only sell for like 500. So you bought the land for 100. You might have to build a house that's 130 square meters, and that might cost 350 grand to build.
Yeah.
You're all in at 450. You sell for 499, not anywhere near a flip.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a group home builder will not go and make money there.
Yeah.
Type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
You either had to have sold it for more than 500, which is probably not going to happen, or you have to get the land for like 50 grand.
Yeah.
And even then, it's not the best.
Yeah. So if you're a builder and you had, say, a small company, 2 or 3 guys, what's some kind of margins or percentages that you would be looking at? If they're doing their Monday to Friday, they're quoting, working some jobs, got a team of guys, and they want to do their own project on the side. Because I think every builder's dream is to either do their own projects or do their own, do their own projects to sell or build their own projects to live in,
If I was a builder out there, I would probably be, it depends if they've got no money to even start. And definitely know that their only advantage is doing the work themselves.
Yeah.
Which means that 2 things. You're going to have to get out of Auckland and then chuck all the travel costs in your numbers.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. The easiest and fastest way to start. Or B, you should just look at JVing something with someone that already owns a house.
Yeah, true.
So there's different marketing aspects I'd be doing if I was a builder. I do know one guy that's doing it where he'd actually approach someone and it's that whole thing where they're going to put their house on the market, but it's munted. They haven't got the money to do it up. What he'd do is he'd come in and be like, hey, so what do you think this house is worth? Oh, agent said I'd get 700 for it. It's like, cool. If we renovated it at our cost and it sold for 900, you pay me back my reno funds, which is we agree. You and then we split everything that's over the 7 to, say it was 80 grand, 780, everything from 780 to 900, we split that down
straight down the middle. Yeah.
And they go, oh, okay, why wouldn't they do that?
Yeah.
Right? So all they have to do is hold on for another four months till the reno's done or whatever.
Yeah.
And now the vendor and him might make an additional 60 grand each.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Yeah, I think that's always a good way because I feel like I know we said at the start, finance is always the biggest issue for people, but I think, if you can build up credibility with a bank or, find a JV partner that was very, very.
And if I was, I'd always be asking the question, right?
Yeah.
I'd put it on my back of my business card. Ask us about JVs. You have no even idea how it works. Just fucking put it there anyway. Until someone asks you the question, then you're like, shit, I better start figuring this out.
Yeah, that's true, man.
Ask me about our JV option. They're like, hey, also I saw on the back of your card something about a JV option. Well, what is that for? Fuck, mate, I don't know either. But I'm glad that the marketing's working.
Yeah. And if you got some money, I've found a flip, man. So let's, interesting, man. What's a couple of things you think? Obviously, you get approached by tradies all the time. How can they be better, and how can they be sort of more approachable, sellable, and provide, you know, a better service to Joe Blogs? I feel like there's a lot of builders out there. How can they kind of differ or be better than?
Well, the best thing that everyone sees when they sit and roll their ass on the couch is look at your Instagram socials, right?
Yeah, true.
However way you're communicating with them is probably through socials,
Yeah.
which is the best way. Because if you've just got their number, you're texting them, they're still just texting like a blank number with
true.
a blank nothing.
Yeah.
If you're DMing them from Facebook or Instagram, they can literally go to the top view profile and they start to see how your online CV is actually played out. Your bio is very important, you know. Well-trusted builder, X amount of experience, competitive rates, reliable service. Something like that in the bio will be very good to see. And yeah, I mean, there's that thing where it's like the cheapest isn't the best isn't the cheapest, or the fastest. You can only choose, you know, you got 3 options. You can't have more.
3, yeah.
You know?
What is it? Time, money, quality.
Yeah, time, money, quality. I guess just make yourself available to say, look, I can put aside 15 minutes for a phone call just to go over any questions you might have.
Yeah, true.
Can we book that in for tomorrow or the day after?
Yeah.
That's probably what I do, try and get on the phone with them, build up a little bit of rapport.
Yeah.
And then, which is probably going to separate you from other tradies, you know?
Yeah, true. Good advice, man. All right, not everything's fucking smooth sailing in building. What's your biggest loss, and how many problems do you face on most projects?
We've got something that we're currently dealing with that I'm yet to pretty much talk about it, but it's just like a when you get something tested from a lab that is asbestos, and the lab says it's not asbestos.
Yeah, interesting.
And so all the cladding's ripped off, thrown in the bins, taken away.
Yeah.
Then turns out WorkSafe arrives on site and says, apparently we've been told by numerous people that's asbestos. Here's the test.
Yeah.
They go, oh, sweet, it's not. All good. Then an hour later, they call you up and say, hey, someone else has pretty much submitted another test that's positive. We're like, what? So we're going to pause your site. Prohibition notice, not prohibition, the one before that. Yeah. No,
Wow.
Stop work order. Yeah. We're going to take our sample, send it off to the lab. By Monday comes, we'll know. If it's probably not, so carry on.
Yeah.
Monday comes, they're like, yeah, 2 now compared to your 1. So prohibition notice, stop your site. And then literally we call up the lab. We're like, what's happening? They go, oops. Yeah, they go, oops, our mistake. Sorry, we didn't turn it over and test the back. And that cleanup cost 96 grand.
96K.
That we're covering.
Is this recent, right?
This is literally currently. And we're taking them to court.
Oh, man.
This is the first time,
Is this your worst one you've had?
Yeah.
Cost-wise?
Yeah.
What's your next closest one to that? Man, that's insane.
Yeah.
Oh.
A lot of them have been like South Island renos during the peak of winter.
Okay.
Where just numerous amounts of travel back and forth. Guys go down there and they can't do any external work because it's like 7 degrees on a warm day with no rain.
Yeah.
And the paint doesn't dry. in the temperature, right?
Yeah.
And numerous flights back and forth to finish off the jobs that was done.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can use the locals, but they're all booked out because everyone's behind on the weather.
Yeah.
So those ones there, weather permitting exterior work jobs can literally start adding up a lot more of the expenses, like accommodation, travel, that you did not know to throw into the spreadsheet.
Yeah. It's so hard to price contingencies, man. Like we have a sort of like standard percentages depending on job value, but 3, 6, 9%. And then even the one I did in Martin, it was like, an extra 18K to build up the section 800 mil. And you don't even think about it. You're like, oh, surely it'll be fine. We'll go piles and can change the slab. And then it's like, oh, got to build up. Yeah. Here's 18K.
But with us, we're known to not be the ones that try and make the huge fucking flips. Like I know a lot of other people that message me, yeah, man, I made 200 grand for last flip. It's like, mint.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we work in quantities.
Yeah. How often are you doing that?
Yeah, like all the time. That's why I said we got like 10 on the go, right?
Yeah.
We've got one that settles contemporary industry on Thursday. That wasn't amazing, but it's like almost selling a contract.
Yeah.
That was 28 grand, right?
Yeah.
So we didn't have to touch the house at all.
Yeah, nice.
That was literally like teaching deal sourcing students to find the deals, and I pay them for the deals. Then I go and leverage it out to buyers, and then on sell it, package it up for them.
Yeah.
And they go off and they probably take that house itself because it came with a lot of land. They might end up making like 400 grand from that house if they do it properly in like 2 years' time.
Oh, wow.
And we only made 28.
Yeah.
But we didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
But we also do that like numerous times in the year.
That's it. Do you get a lot of people messaging you trying to flex on Instagram?
Oh, yeah, fair bit.
And then you're like, how many did you do this year? I only did one. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool, man. At what time did you think like this was a full-time gig? Like surely after you...
It was like May last year.
Yeah?
May last year was literally that deal I was telling you. It was like 80 grand. And I was like, fuck, I'm an idiot if I just I'm having my time taken away.
Yeah.
I'm going out and finding the next one that's like this.
Yeah.
You know?
What was like something that you changed or straight away to be like, man, I need more time to do this? Like there must have been admin heavy tasks or something in your schedule in your personal life where you're like, I could just go and do more of this.
Well, one of the things, obviously, when you're working a full-time job is you have, especially as a sales rep, you're getting so many phone calls.
Yeah.
Right? So you've got 2 mobile phones. That's a big fucking thing already, right?
Yeah.
So you're handling phone calls and emails.
Yeah.
So on both phones and emails, I was getting like thousands a week, right?
Yeah.
Which is crazy. That was the main one. Just focus on one thing and start networking and connecting with more people just in that one field. Yeah. It's just property now.
Yeah.
Not with the other thing with work. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. Okay, interesting. Couple more things here, and then I'd love to talk about the investor app that you've got coming on. Who's your sort of main trade supplier? And at the moment, do you still do like a lot of quote checking or price getting off these main suppliers to make sure you are getting a good deal all the time?
Yep. So we used to use Mitre 10 when we first started, and we still do have accounts with them.
Yeah.
Smart Mate account nationwide. But we've also linked up with one of the territory managers for Bunnings.
Yeah.
So he's came to our office before, and what he's going to do, when you did touch on the Investor Pros platform, is he's going to provide all the users on that platform with a Power Pass Builders Rates commercial accounts nationwide.
Yeah, commercial sounds like good percentages.
And we've, he said it roughly, it can go from 25 to 35%, depending on what you're buying, right? Yeah.
I love the Mitre 10 Smart Mate app. I think it's real good. Not the app, but the software you log.
Yeah, log in, you can see your dashboard, you can see pending invoices, you can,
Yeah, I feel like that one's good.
Add an admin member, all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So you've been, this point here, you're very energetic dude, man. I feel like you push and get a lot of shit done. How many people are in the team, and how do you kind of like manage
It's probably like
expectations, getting shit done?
Well, for the people in the trades, there's, we've got our own Sparky that travels anywhere around the country.
Full-time employee?
No, not employee.
Contractor.
But he prioritizes our jobs, right?
Yeah, nice.
We've got a plumber, qualified drainer as well.
Yeah.
So he does everything. He's been with us for like 2 years now.
Yeah, mate.
Which is quite cool. Then we've got the builders. There's about 6 of them that go around and do that. Painter, plasterer guy. We've got a connection with Carpet Mill for giving us very good rates on carpets throughout, and that's going to the Investor Pro members as well throughout the entire country. We've also got commercial accounts set up at like kitchen things for appliances and things like that.
Yeah, nice.
And then we've got myself, James upstairs doing the editing. The guy I spoke to beforehand that does the operations for the new builds. And we've just met up 2 weeks ago with a architect that's going to be handling all our work on the new builds. Yeah. So when I sat down with her, I made sure, because I'm always like to say that I'm a noob when I get into stuff that I am a fucking noob at.
Yeah.
Sit there and think I'm the man.
Yeah, ego's out the window.
And just pretty much humbled myself and said, I'm going to ask you like 45 million questions.
Yeah.
I want you to ask all of them as much as you can, right?
Yeah.
And then she did really quite well. So
cool.
Just to develop that trust with her, rock up there with some chocolate croissants,
that's the one, man.
Person, get the gift, get the awkward thing out of the way.
Yeah.
And you spam them with some professional questions.
Yeah, 100%. Fuck, just thought of this one. What's your percentage split, and do it on 10, between like consented flips and non-consented flips?
So ideally 95% non-consented. Yeah. Cosmetic renovations only.
Nice, man.
When you're just starting, that's literally what you need to do.
Very risk-free, time adverse. You can be in and out.
I'd probably say 90, sorry. Some of them we've done added value where we just subdivide them. So they're 2 houses on one title. Yeah. We've done due diligence to know that they've all got their services already done, the driveway's already done. It's just the owner that did it ran out of money on the last like $10,000 step. Oh, wow. So what we do is we get our surveyor in, they have to redo the geotech or whatever it is, surveying, they lodge it with council, so we start to understand the LINS process, the timeline of that, the lawyers' fees on that, all the problems that can happen on that, boundary lines, all that stuff, and then you split them and you've made like $100,000 of equity or value straight away.
Yeah, council ones are the absolute killer for builders, man. I know the amount of people that have gaps for 6 to 8 weeks because the council job's been held up or delayed, 100%. And it's just like, it's such a time killer for construction. Give us a little bit of a rundown on the Investor Pro app. Obviously, how long have you been working on it for?
So the Investor Pro app is a very good app that's used for, we always use it ourselves. So it's a calculator that you can do for buy and hold strategies. You put on the purchase price, the rent, the rates, the insurance, mortgage term, everything you'd rather do. You can do it on your phone. It's a lot sexier than using a desktop.
Yeah.
You literally just, it tells you if it cash flows positive, yes or no. You can upload photos, assets, documents to it, and then you can just go to the bottom left and click share with.
Yeah.
You can share with anyone else that's on the app.
Yeah,
So
cool.
instantly they come up with every single detail you've done. And this is a skill and tool that I've taught deal sources. So when they're actually uploading all the documents and numbers to it, they just click share with Tama, and then they message me and they go, hey, I've shared a deal with you on Investor Pro, and I open it up and I go, oh, wow, there it is. All the numbers, they've got their notes.
Wow.
They've traded me link, everything that's on there.
Yeah.
Eventually, that slowed down with a lot of investors because the market's just done what the market's done.
Yeah.
So there's not many traders out there that's actually running numbers and stuff.
Yeah.
But I always knew the most value that's going to come from this is people that are wanting to learn the education,
Yeah.
and also have a done-for-you type service.
Yeah, I see.
So the next thing that we're actually launching is Investor Pro Leaders, and this is something where it's got a message behind it where eventually if you grew up and broke family that had no ambition, no drive, eventually someone has to be a leader in the family, step things up, and fucking pivot out of poverty.
Yeah, for
Someone
sure.
has to do it.
I like that, man.
You know,
have you
so-
got that tattooed somewhere?
No, not
Pivot
yet.
out of poverty. Did you just make that up, or have you seen it
Yeah,
before?
I've made it up just now.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Trademark. Copyright.
Trademark.
Yeah. So pivoting out of poverty is the main thing. And
Yeah.
so people need to know about mindset is the first thing.
Yeah.
You give every single technical thing. Go see this broker. You need this amount of money. They be like, oh, but Netflix though. Cool. So you need the mindset. After that, you need the skills. Click here, search this, type this in,
Yeah.
email this person, say this.
Yeah.
That's in there.
Yeah,
as well,
everything's
right?
online.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you want a broker, it's provided. Accountant provided. Lawyer provided.
Yeah.
And then we hook them up with the Bunnings Pass we told you about.
Nice.
And they can go out there and learn how to be a deal sourcer. They can be a first-home buyer and learn the first-home buyers course, or they can be a property investor for buy and holds or flips and learn those types of things.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's going to be a one-off payment purchase price that we're looking at doing for like under $300, and that gives them everything for the whole year.
That's insane, man.
Investor Pro Leaders.
Where did that inspiration come from? Did you see something similar, or were you just
Yeah,
like,
I've always knew that eventually education is something that, you know, then you hear the fucking idiots that say, oh, if you can't do, you start teaching, eh? It's like, you clown.
Yeah, yeah.
The best way to learn is to teach as
Yeah,
well,
man.
right?
Yeah.
As I think you've said to
I
me as
told
well,
you,
right?
yeah, on the phone, man.
But at the same time, it's like, it is a cash flow business. There are people that always do message anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, can you teach me this? When are you doing another seminar? When are you doing this,
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
And obviously the seminars were really good.
Yeah.
But there was always like the same amount of people that would ask, do you have the recordings?
Yeah.
I can't make it. I can't travel. I can't do this, this, and this.
Yeah, yeah.
And before I used to be like tough. But
Yeah.
eventually in an online world, a digital world, you
Right.
have to have something that's going on that can be growing a database. And the other cool thing about it is that you are growing a database internally and you are getting paid for that database.
Yeah.
And eventually, if you scale up the property investors, eventually when you become a very big developer,
Yeah.
you've already kickstarted your database.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because one of the key things of the top 10 biggest developers in New Zealand, if you have to do all the stuff there and also have a massive marketing budget, you're running on very thin margins.
Yeah.
But if you can get away with organic marketing as much as you can
Yeah.
through email database, email sign, which is free, yeah, then you're in a better spot.
Yeah.
We're
That's
just trying to think ahead on that.
yeah, absolutely. What's kind of like the 5-year plan for you, or the 10-year plan? Do you have an exit
Oh, and
strategy
also
plan?
I'm just very like confident that more and more losers are just going to be popping up. People that are absolutely zero, like just the people that have not been taught and just been guided into where technology is guiding them, which
Yeah.
is like sit there, don't think. Here's an app, billions, trillion-dollar companies that just like, we want your attention.
Yeah.
We'll play the entrepreneurial motivated movie on Netflix.
Yeah.
But we actually don't want you to do anything. with
Yeah,
your life.
yeah, yeah.
Please watch the next motivational movie.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
That's all. And give us the $29 a month. That's all we fucking want. We've got 300 million active users, all these platforms. So that's what I want, is to be a person that can actually help a lot of younger guys,
Yeah.
especially. Because, when I sat down and talked to my lawyers a couple of weeks ago over dinner, she's a very intelligent woman, right? And I'm just there and I'm just like, we never really talk outside of email and phone calls
Yeah.
on a personal level. We always do formal. I'm like, are there more losers popping up in this world? And they'll just
Yeah.
like sip their wine. They're like, absolutely, Tama.
Yeah.
Even they fucking know it.
Yeah,
so I'm
everyone-
like, well, maybe you could be the type of person that can help motivate people. And I find enjoyment in doing that as well.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, great answer. And I know I did ask another question, and then you re-answered over that, which is good. What's the kind of exit plan for you here, man? Like, what's the end goal
Five-year
for
goal
you?
is to have a big development company. Doing things that aren't just cookie cutter developments that people just think that, look at these buildings all the same.
So you're not going for most houses in NZ. You just want to build a rep on like boutique, something.
Yeah, something
like,
cool.
Yeah,
like we were talking about if it was the time frame. I don't know why no developer back in 2018 to 2019 was launching fucking Avengers themed houses. As dumb as it might sound, it's like you only need to sell 10.
Buzzy.
And you're probably going to have all the Avengers.
Yeah.
You have massive nerd fan software IT technicians that'll drop money on those houses.
Yeah,
custom made Avengers back when Endgame came out.
Yeah, buzzy.
So we were like, fuck, if we were going to do this, we'd do fun stuff like this.
Yeah, that's
we would
buzzy.
see where the next big franchise would come out because the fans of these things have money.
Yeah, that's a very creative brain to come up with stuff like that.
So we'll do things like that. Educational and entrepreneurial platform, Investor Pro. We'll try and take that to Australia because there's a lot of people that don't realize that buying new properties in New Zealand is much better than buying them in Australia.
Okay.
You get to avoid capital gains tax, stamp duty tax, which saves you like 30 to 40 grand instantly on the buy.
Stamp duty's huge, eh?
Yeah, stamp duty is like 5% on, it's like paperwork tax.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So teaching Australians that, which would be very good. And you do need a New Zealand solicitor to which we'll be, sort of supplying.
Yeah.
And we can do the project management. We can do everything from them. And we already sell to a few Australians already.
Yeah.
Like so that's one thing that we'll grow as well.
Yeah, nice, man. If you were starting out again, anything you do differently?
There's so many that are different.
One key thing that comes to mind? Start earlier?
Well, I always say to do this, and I have done it myself, but a key thing is like, whatever you think that you're going to do that relies on other people, get their no out of the way as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Because most people sit around and wait for the Hail Mary move. Then their mum doing something for them. Their dad giving them that money they said they'd give them when they were fucking 18 or whatever.
Yeah.
And they sit and wait. A year goes past in life. They didn't even know if that was going to come for them yet.
Yeah.
So ask your parents, ask whoever is going to partner with business for you, your great uncle that said he was going to get it out of the way. Get the no out of the way at least.
Yeah.
So then where your brain actually has to start thinking of new ideas.
Yeah.
Not thinking on this fucking wish me thing that is never going to happen. Before it could happen.
Yeah.
You could get the yes out of the way faster.
Yeah.
But get the no out of the way as fast as possible so you can move on to other things.
Yeah, cool, man. And just for obviously all the builders and the tradies out there, one piece of advice for them to help them make more money, do better on jobs or do their own developments?
Yep. So, and I always teach it, the blue collar things is what builders know, tradies know.
Yeah.
They can do a lot of things with their own two hands, right? But when it comes to the white collar stuff, they all know that's where the money's made.
Yeah.
They all know it's the developer that makes the big bucks. They all know it's the homeowner that makes the most money. It's the fucking software IT nerds that are sitting in Silicon Valley that make the trillions. They aren't the ones that do things with their own hands. The only ones that does somewhat is like Elon because he's an engineer, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, it is the white collar stuff, which is legal, negotiations, clauses and contracts, that type of stuff to get them more upskilled.
That makes them
That's going to make them a lot more money.
Yeah.
And eventually you talk to tradies and they start injuring themselves. They're on fucking ACC and their back's breaking and all this shit. And eventually, when you've got kids and you want to live a nice life that's not chronic pain, you have to start using your brain a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't rely on the body, man. It's got to, it's going to give out at some point. If you keep standing frames and mixing concrete, man. Nah, cool, man. Thank you very much for that. Much appreciated.
Cool.
And remember, trademark, pivot out of poverty. You can't reuse that one, okay?
Awesome, man.
Cheers, bro.